Our alliances are naturally the leftist countries. China is one of the countries we look up to. Cuba is one of the countries we look up to. And Russia, we've got historical ties with it. We know that Putin is not at the left, but his attitude against imperialist forces finds resonance with the EFF. And those are the kind of people will rely on. BRICS is one such a structure that we regard very highly, and we see the emergence of BRICS as an alternative platform to engage in the geopolitics. And those are the type of progressive structures that the EFF will align with. We make no apology with our alliance with China, because we believe that China can help us, even with load shedding. We need a government that has got interests and that negotiate good terms and say to China, build it, operate it, and hand it over to South Africa. The Chinese will never refuse to do that. They've never refused to do that. But because we are hell-bent at our alliances with the West and America, we've missed opportunities to strengthen our own economy through fostering working relationship with countries that will not destroy us. China is not going to colonize Africa. The problem is your corrupt leaders who go to China with empty bags and come back with money. They want money and they negotiate with money in their mind. So you come to me like that, I will also dribble you. So go there with proper ideas, not with corrupt mentality. There's no China that wants to colonize anyone. How do you get colonized now when you are the negotiator? South Africa has surrendered a port now in Durban now. That's colonialism, where you just take your port and give it to other people, surrendering your sovereignty, and later you are going to say people have colonized you. When you go to China and say, give us a power station in exchange for OR Tambo Airport, why would they miss that opportunity? It's not them, it's your stupidity as leaders. There's no policy of China. We've gone through it many times that seeks to colonize anyone. But if people go there with better ideas, it's not a problem of China. It's their own problem. No socialist organization, and socialism teaches us that we can't engage in imperialist program. We can't engage in colonialist program. We intervene where necessary, and intervention does not mean interference. And that's what it inspires that relationship with countries like China and Cuba too. The Cubans, you go to them, you seek solution, they will provide it. And then they don't say, give us this, give us that. It's South Africa that says, in exchange, we'll give you this. And when we give the Cubans the money that we are giving them, when we get accused, we over-explain ourselves that which we offered to the Cubans. The money to Cuba is not necessarily to pay for the doctors. It's a solidarity fund. We're in solidarity with Cuba and we'll double that money when we take over government. Because Cuba did not give us money. It gave us life. People died fighting for our democracy. Why should we be told by people who oppressed us that Cuba joined us to fight against how we must relate with Cuba? We cannot allow that. The war in Mozambique is exactly what I spoke about. But the problem, you are right, is this foreign interests that are interfering and even sponsoring the killing of each other in Mozambique. We should not, as Africans, anywhere, because we are rejected, we are hated everywhere. We should not find it easy to fight with each other. It must be the most painful and the most difficult thing for an African to take up guns and shoot at another African. Because if others can do it, they will do it with ease. It must be difficult for us. We are hated everywhere in the world. We are treated like we are not human beings. Why should we treat each other like that ourselves? That's why the EFF here in South Africa is told every time that we won't vote for you because you want foreigners in our country, you protect foreigners in our country. So be it. We're not going to kill Africans in exchange for votes. I will rather stay at home in the villages because that is not just us. So we are for Africans, and Africans everywhere must always find African solution to their problems without Sasol's interference, without France's interference, without British interference. We need to sit down and find solutions of Africa by Africans.